Howdy.
Hey.
Hey. It's an interesting morning.
Yeah.
What's happening today?
There's a lot going on.
What's happening today?
I don't think this was intentional. It's just like you guys, Miranda's just decided to interrupt our normal podcast time. So we'll ride the waves, unlike these ships did.
Oh yeah,
these poor ships.
We'll see what happens.
Of Miranda's. So, but Miranda's isn't the only news either. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about today.
We got a bunch because so the shipwreck starts in what, 13 minutes?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a little distracted. So like if I'm not talking and I'm doing things, and something's amiss, like.
Well,
my door.
I want to talk to you first. Actually, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna get that out of the way so that you can have your brain ready as we get closer to the sale. Hey, I got to see you on Ahead of the Game. What was that like?
Yeah. This is Nova, by the way. She keeps me company back here. All right, now get off. Ahead of the Game was good, man. It was. I think his main focus was the fact that we've been building a lot with the Gala Collective, Fortune Crypto, and then there was the hackathon that Nerd Node participated in and won the non-Gala portion of that hackathon. And so he just wanted to get that together and talk to me about a few things, and I'm all for it. Talk away. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And highlights for people that didn't watch that episode. The critique was largely about communication. Let's encourage them to tell us everything as often as they can.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people focused on that. There was a lot to the conversation. We talked about a lot of things.
It sure was.
That was the one. Like he asked the question, like, "What is Gala doing wrong?" I think is what his exact words were. Or what can they fix, or something along those lines. And it was, for me, it was immediate. It was communication. So that is hands down, I think for them is the number one thing that they have to work on is communication. And it's at all levels from, how you're going to be doing a Miranda shipwreck drop. Are there going to be limits on the amount that you can buy with the shipwreck crates?
Yeah,
there's so much information that still has to be delineated down the line that they miss a lot. And a lot of times I just think it's the fact that the left hand doesn't talk to the right hand. It's not always a malicious, or I would say very few times it's actually malicious in what a lot of people think it is. But regardless of the fact, communication.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like there has to be a degree of, Gala grew as a ecosystem so fastly, especially as they expanded into film and music. And I just wonder if, part of it, like you just said, is just their internal communication lines didn't grow alongside the company itself. So there's just lapses between all the departments trying to get a singular message out. It doesn't seem like the tone and, the way we get, if everything was unified and, like you said, it would just make things a lot easier.
Yeah, you'd at least be more educated about the decisions that you have to make, and then be less bent out of shape when your expectations aren't met. The more they tell us, the more the more flexible that we're going to be in regards to our choices, and the more and the less burden or blame we're shifting to them when it doesn't go our way. Because they've been clear, like, no, this is the way that it's going to happen. But we can just hope for change there.
Well, and I think on the communication side too, one of the reasons that I put communication out there, like it's kind of twofold. One is communication helps all relationships, whether it's a business relationship, a business partner relationship, your family relationship, whatever it is. Communication is key. That's my personal opinion. I think it actually works well with everything. But as well in the blockchain industry, the whole thing about blockchain, it's all there for you to see.
Absolutely.
And when you push your your thoughts to start with are to be a Web3 blockchain gaming company. Transparency and communication have to be at the forefront of everything that you do, to include, how much you're sending over there to liquidate in your gala. We can see it, right? And then when you tap dance around how much you are doing it, and then finally come out and say, well, we've got to pay bills. Like, it just, like, you're not being upfront. Just be upfront. Be like, guess what? We're going to use this to pay bills. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know what you're doing. Great. Have fun. Like, do it. Like, don't tap dance. It's, again, communication just from the get-go. Got it.
But I know, Blake, I know you're still a single dude, but Nate, you and me being married, like, if I would tap dance around answers from my wife, it would create a really rotten home environment.
You probably wouldn't have a wife anymore.
Yeah, right? Yeah. The fact that I can just be frank with my wife. No, it didn't go the way either of us wanted it to. Here's where we are. Let's figure out the best way forward. Like that, any relationship, like the more clear you are and the less you're trying to obfuscate the truth, the faster the solution comes, or at least the faster.
Said that word really well.
Yeah. So, well, that was a pretty awesome episode. I was really thankful for that interview. The news information. Tim, honestly, you could have gotten a private jet by explaining very directly that it works for taxes better if you buy the private jet and don't have to pay for those. Actually pay taxes on that amount, and then you never fly it, and it sits there, and it's just an asset that you can sell later. That's how you get the private jet if you don't talk about things.
Or you say, hey, guess what we're doing? We did so good. We're going to buy a private jet, but also we're going to sell you this NFT to help us buy that private jet. And those NFT owners, you get a chance to fly in that private jet once a year. Maybe like, oh yeah, we're all for it. Like,
dude, private jet is the new Lambo hype.
It is 100%, dude. There's a guy he's listening right now. I know he is. And even before the private jet thing came out with Gala, that was always the joke. Like, what do I invest in? What coin do I invest in to get my private jet? That's kind of the joke. So when that came out, it's been kind of funny. So I'm not going to have a private jet, just so everybody knows. I don't care how much money I have. I'm not going to have a private jet. I'll put that out here right now.
I don't know. I think I'd probably get a private train. Anyway, back to Gala and the stuff that happened in the ecosystem this week. Yeah. The first thing that I really want to dial in on is the fact that Spider Tanks was deathly quiet. There was no Spider Squad stream. There was no announcements in the entire week this week. So everything has kind of ground to a standstill because of the differences between Gala and game media. The game itself, many of your games just drop because the servers aren't being maintained appropriately. It's kind of a sad state, and because they can't talk about it in Discord, we have no idea whether there's a fix on the horizon or if this is just going to kind of grind on for a long time. But that being said, it still is the best scrimmage in Web3 space. So I'm hoping that they can turn it around and actually get some development going on in that game again.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of mention it and then move on. We have seen the problems in Spider Tanks for a long time. Music is kind of big news. I know we usually focus on the games, but I think it's big enough news that it's noteworthy. Your Gala Games account balance page now has the music token on it, both in Gala Chain and ETH. And so we're expecting at any moment there could be a token launch. Now, the word from Benefactor is that it's either going to happen this week or in January. And he kind of jokingly said, we've heard that it's kind of hard to do launches the last couple weeks of December. So totally makes sense that if they can't get it all their ducks in a row for this week, then to wait until after the holidays. But they seem like they're prepared to launch the tokens, which would mean, and they have said it's going to be a 1-to-1 relationship between the beams that you've acquired and the Gala music tokens that you receive. So that's kind of cool. There's supposed to also be a music white paper made available to the music community and people in Gala Gold. I think it might be the music node community and Gala Gold. That should come out today. So sometime we should expect to see the music white paper. And he has been making massive adjustments over the past few weeks. He said there was a lot of stuff in there, and you see in these posts, there's like a lot of stuff that he saw that he's just like, it's either confusing or it doesn't make sense. So he spent a lot of time cleaning up the white paper, and I guess we'll see if we like the results. So we had the Gala chain migration from the treasure chest. That's another that was another big hot topic that started like early Thanksgiving week. Almost everything had transitioned, but the stuff for Townstar / Common Ground World, they were kind of given a grace period because they had once those things migrated to the treasure chest or from the treasure chest, they would no longer be accessible in game. So they needed to time it right so that people could get access to their NFTs for the tournaments. So that actually happened. That happened Friday, where all of a sudden you were able to. They made the transition. Everything that was in the treasure chest became a Gala chain allowance, and you were able to mint from the Gala chain allowance to Gala chain as a free transaction. There were a few things that got missed. There are some of the storages, or not. I'm sorry, not the storages, but the ghost cards that are like little boosts in game. Some of those didn't get translated from treasure chest to Gala chain allowance, but they did get the vast majority of them, and they're working on the fixes for the ones that they missed. Another thing that it was the bot parts. So your farm bot parts from node rewards, crane bot parts, trade bot parts. A lot of those didn't get ported over from the treasure chest also. And I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just an oversight because those NFTs are so old and they've just kind of been sitting inert for so long.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at the amount that's there. Like it's going to be a nightmare. I'll share my screen because I have some parts.
You have a couple parts.
let me share it here real quick. Hold on.
Not just a couple.
Well, I don't have as many nodes as you, and my
well, this was just from
collection.
This here was from 6 nodes, right? I definitely own more nodes from now, but this that you see here, this is from 6 nodes, right?
Well,
back in the day.
I only had 3, and my Townstar, the number of Townstar NFTs I have, it shows up as NAN, like not a number. Like it's like
because you look at there's 200 of the bolts, and I mean you go all the way down to like the actual like farm bot parts, which I think at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Oh no, trade bots.
Yeah, that's a trade bot there.
Where's my farm bot?
Well, most of it.
Oh no, that's trade bot. Must be up here. There.
So a lot of those were on. Remember, they minted those directly to ETH. So it really was just. It wasn't even the farm bot stuff. It was the tail end of the crane bot and all of the trade bot stuff was when they finally had a treasure chest in place when you could mint whenever you wanted. They were tired of eating ETH fees, and that was right as we were running up towards the bull run, the end of 2020. So it started getting far more expensive for them to do the daily distribution. And so they crafted this treasure chest concept and started dumping it there. And then you could mint at your leisure.
Scroll down a little bit, Nate. Is it not that first?
Incidentally, just as a highlight, we are 1 minute into D-Day for the sale. The shipwreck crate is there, and it looks like people started buying them. So those of you who need to make your purchases, might want to do that before the piranhas.
Do you want to show that? I don't know if you want to show your purchasing or not, Forged.
Oh, are you showing it?
No.
Can I get this many? Apparently, there's no limit. You can buy them all. But I don't want it in Gala. I want it in ETH.
Well,
Oh, yeah. Am I sharing? I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, I took yours off.
you weren't sharing.
Well, here's
That
some of
would've
the
been
details
bad.
on the ship rate on the sale. Looks like, yeah. So are they all the same? They're all priced the exact same, and then these are just the potential rewards within them.
That's just some of the rewards. There are so many things in these shipwreck crates. The list even the list on the website wasn't comprehensive. They sent out an announcement this morning in the Miranda's channel with the adjustments that needed to be made. Originally, what was it? 48 quays was on the list there. There's actually 51 of them, so it's like, you might as well, Tim. That's like 10%. I'm sorry, 1%. That's like 1%. There's a village, or I'm sorry, there's a town of the Duke. There's farming or village of the farmer. There's seriously like hundreds of really like high-end land and building NFTs. And then they've got these other packages that are pretty compelling too. The vast majority of the boxes are going to contain exemplars, but even there, some of them are going to have 3 exemplars. And the exemplar packages also come with a dragon voucher. So there's a lot of people that are hoping to snap up an opportunity to fill out their dragon collection. This is probably the most hyped sale that we've seen since maybe like Miranda's Vox even. So
I'll see. I bought a few.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't buy them all. That's a lot.
That was generous of you. Like
awaiting fulfillment. Well, 5 of them are going to a friend who could not get them because he's got a lot of crap going on. And so he asked me this morning early if I could pick him up 5. So I got 5 going to him. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll give one away or 2.
Well, it looks like they've already sold 2,000 of them in 4 minutes.
Okay.
So that's actually slower than I thought. I thought they were going to just vanish. But
I think more than anything else, this just shows the like the strength of like belief in Miranda's, right?
Yeah,
it's like
sure.
Amidst everything going on, granted, we're kind of entering more of that bull-ish, pre-bull market, however you want to say it, but kind of amidst no matter what's going on within Gala, people love Miranda's and the idea of Miranda's, and people are hopping on it.
Yeah, I think even without this pump up with the bull, I think people would have bought quite a few of these. So
yeah,
I agree. We'll dig a little bit further into Miranda's kind of tail end of this, but yeah, there's a lot to say about Miranda's.
So much for selling our Gala shit. Seems like ETH.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well,
I didn't even look at that.
What happened?
He's saying,
HB was saying it seems like it's all happening in ETH, not Gala chain.
Oh, I bought an ETH as well. So I mean, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
No. Like originally, they said you'd be able to buy it on Gala chain.
Oh, gotcha.
But no, you didn't even get the option. It's just.
I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't they? It's supposed to all be on Gala chain in the first place. Quick and easy, fast, right?
Yeah, he said that it looked like they were going to allow Gala chain ETH, but there was no selection.
Was no selection.
Interesting.
Well, another 500 sold or 600, so they're going out pretty fast. I don't think we're going to see these for too much longer.
No.
How many total were there?
69. 69.
That's right.
We're a bunch of juveniles.
100%.
Love it.
Cool. So we can dive into a few other things while we're watching the numbers go down here on the supply. The Common Ground World team, they're shifting from Thanksgiving to Christmas stuff. So you have in the story, there's the mistletoe arch for sale that speeds up the process of growing oak for your oak barrels in the new meta, which is the rocking horse, which I I avoided last Christmas. I had a lot of family stuff that I was involved in. I didn't have time for Townstar, and so I don't even know how to make a rocking horse. But apparently it takes oak. So that's happening. We were talking about the way that the fulfillment to Gala chain from the Gala chain allowance, that migration is now almost complete. They should be wrapping that up shortly. I don't see why there would be any huge delay in those like lingering parts that haven't been migrated from the treasure chest to the allowance.
Just real quick, mine shows that you can buy with Gala chain.
Really?
Does he have it on actual Gala chain? Or is it on the token allowance?
I'm not sure. We'll need to.
I was just
See what
checking
he
it
says.
out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sorry,
Right.
totally interrupted you, but I just want to let people know that you can buy a Gala chain. It does show on there.
Let me see where I go. Yeah, I can do it too. And with Ethereum. So Gala ETH, Ethereum, and Gala chain.
Oh, he said it came back after multiple refreshes.
Okay.
So,
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. We have a new version of the Walking Dead Empires. There were a few things that they wanted to address. One of the main one was sometimes when you would zone in, your location would land you right in the middle of someone else's base, and if they weren't in your guild, you got stuck inside the base because you can't open their doors.
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
So
It's like a
that
hard
became something that their workaround was just that if you would be porting to someone's base, they just kind of like zoom you to an open part of the map. So you'll be in the new zone, but not necessarily right over the border where you expected to be. It's starting to get very, very crowded in that section of Georgia. There's a lot of people that have come in. Some people never progressed very far, so the common zones are still littered with a bunch of bases. Some people did, and so the higher rarity zones are starting to get a little bit crowded too. It'll be interesting to see how they interpret this as far as like user base and interest level, because one of the things that they were doing was only setting out this initial zone. It's 4 ancients and a city center, which also has like ancient walkers in it, or level 6 walkers. But we know that there's supposed to be a bunch of other like pods like this in regards to the geography. Is it because of the fact that there's so many bases in the ancient zones all of a sudden, does that mean that they're gonna open up more land and make it available? We know that the closer they get to having all of that available, the sooner we'll see the actual land rush where you can claim your lands. But again, it's kind of like however they're interpreting that. They probably also have. We know that they haven't released dungeons yet. That's an update that's down the line. I'm sure there's a lot of other quality of life stuff that they want to add, and content too. So I don't think there's any specific rush for them to get things done unless like specifically with this land situation, except for the fact that it has gotten a little bit difficult to like find walkers a lot of times because now as people level up, they're all wanting to get the level 6 walkers, which are in the ancient zones, because they give the best experience. And it's kind of a race to find walkers. Sometimes you have like, even if it's just like 3 or 4 of these higher level characters in a zone, you're running around and it's just a barren landscape because everything's already been slaughtered. You have to wait for the respawn. One of the other really cool things that they did, they reactivated the daily tasks. So you actually do have those based on which zone your base is in. You have that every day. There's a thing that you can do to earn scrap. Now, in this particular demo, scrap seems to kind of flow freely because you're just able to get it from a bunch of walkers. I'm waiting for a croissant and I'm not getting it, but so I'll just keep going, like. Okay, so,
Fail. I got other things I'm doing over here. I'm trying to like manage stuff.
Interesting
I'm
though.
listening.
I like The Walking Dead has been a
I
great
know.
game so far, so I want to hear what we have to say about it.
Yeah, so daily tasks are live again. We had like I guess it was just a hiccup with that. On the downside, the very cool adjustment that they made in order for people to be able to not have any kind of confusion when it comes to their crafting stations. You had to be within a certain proximity of certain buildings, and now they made it so that if you're on your footprint, you have access to all of your crafting stations at the highest crafting level. Well, the issue with that is that now anyone, if they can find any part of your footprint to be on, they can use your crafting stations too. So the issue that we had earlier about people like just being able to use at their discretion somebody else's really expensive NFT, there's no way for us to interfere with that except to like lift the NFT. So in regards to what we've been doing with the MOF, we just kind of conceded. We're like, okay, fine. This is just a demo. Everybody's already kind of dug in. We're just going to leave it down so that it's not going to interfere with the progression that our guild members are trying to achieve. But they have said that a permission system is in the works, and that's really what we need. Either to say yes or no, you can or can't use it, or to put a price there. It's like if you want to use it, you have to pay for it. So.
Is that better? Was that a good spot?
There it is. There it is.
You got to give me at least like 2 seconds of pause, though. It's like,
I like it though. I think, like you said, still in the demo. We're waiting. It's persistent, but we're seeing. I like that they're making the updates that people are complaining about and wanting to see. So
yeah, they are listening to the community. So that's cool.
Good.
Legacy also had an update, and Legacy probably the bigger deal here. There was a lot of frustration about how hard it was to compete in the game, and so they've actually like kind of informally dubbed this the fairness update, and it's now included a handicap system where people that if you end up being or belonging to a higher league and you get entered into a competition with people that are in a league below you, you start out kind of behind the 8 ball, and you have points that you have to make up in order to be able to actually to post scores on the board. It's not ideal at this point. It's not. Or I should say it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. Now the big issue was that originally the plan was with the right user base, you would be able to have competitions at all these different league levels.
Yep.
But because of the smaller user base, you would have someone enter a competition who's in the top tier, and there wouldn't be enough other people to play against them, and so they would get bunched in with people from the lower tier. And so you have beginners playing against like people that have been playing since day one, and there's no comparison. Like the way that you can build up your town, the extra like the buildings that you can put in there, the sales trucks and things like that, they just move so much faster. They have access to more of the product lines, things like that. So there's no way for a beginner to compete like that. And it became incredibly frustrating, and nobody wanted to play. So this handicap system is a first step towards that, and they've said that in the new year they plan to they have a few big plans. There's supposed to be a user acquisition move over the holidays and into the new year. So that being something that if there are more players, then there will be more. Then there will be more people filling into the competitions. So you'll have an opportunity for people at any given tier to be competing at people that should be at an equal level to them. They're also looking at increasing the number of keys per deed, and they said as much as 5 extra keys per deed. So I'd imagine that the rarer the deed, the more extra keys it will get.
Yeah.
But that's there in order for people to be able to have access to the game, right? You can't, if you don't own a land, you need to get in and use a key from somebody else's land. And the more keys that are available, the higher the population can be. And they're also talking about revamping the event schedule so that you can go in and see that an event is for a certain league or a certain tier, and you can choose whether or not you want to enter it. So if you're a beginner and you want to go ahead and try to like play with the big boys, you can do that. But you don't automatically get thrown in with them. You get to know ahead of time whether or not you're going to be up against stiffer competition. So that, again, they're listening to the community and making steps to make the game better. So that's positive news.
Yeah, love to hear it.
I had to go change my underwear. Sorry. I about jumped out of my seat.
Okay.
FedEx rang the doorbell. My dog barked. I pooped my pants.
Yeah. Well, it happens to the best of us.
I'm older than you, man. You should be able to control that.
No, scared the shit out of me.
Literally.
Real quick blurb about Champions Arena. They had that Black Friday event where if you bought X numbers of gems, you qualified for boxes. Those boxes were distributed last Tuesday. There have been a couple times where they've had to bring the servers down for updates, but largely just things continuing as they are. There is news on that there may be some bigger adjustments coming. We'll wait and see whether or not those things get implemented and be able to report on them when we know clearer details.
Yeah.
The Fuzzles team. This is the community team. Gingerbread Man, Universal Duchies. There's a bunch of other people that are intimately involved with the project at this point. They've been hinting that there's big news this month. So I think they were leaning closer to Christmas time when they're going to be able to announce it. We don't know the extent of it. We have seen some pretty cool screenshots, some neat little teasers about what we can expect from an app. But the big hangup has been that the actual intellectual property ownership has been in limbo. They're trying to secure the IP for the community, and it seems like that is the big news that they're leaning towards. But we have to wait and hear what they have to say. But honestly, if there was going to be a Gala story that I would want to write into a documentary, it would be this Fuzzles story, because from a rug pull to something that could actually be useful to like the everyday person, an AI assistant, like even if it's just someone like an AI voice for your calendar that's like, hey, you know what, you have a doctor's appointment, whatever. like just a really cool project that they totally resurrected it from a situation where it was dead in the water. And
it's been great to see.
And we'll be tracking that closely in order to keep everyone updated. Get Plucked is still live on their second week. The tournament rewards, again, it's $5,000 worth of Gala that'll be distributed out to the top 200 Vox owners and the top 3 free-to-play players. After this week, it's going to be feathers that you get as rewards, and feathers are like the in-game currency, like a database currency that you can use to buy other chickens for the game. And there's like a limited list. You can't buy the NFT chickens that they dropped to Vox owners initially, but they've come up with some new ones that are creative and neat and cute, and you can assign whatever adjective you want to it. But there are some that you can buy in the store. Some of them are rarer than others, but they aren't NFTs at this point. You wouldn't be able to transfer them from one person to another. You are in the process of screen sharing while you're typing in your stuff.
Yeah, it's just
a 6-factor code.
I'll give it till the last second so somebody can't use it at the same time.
Are you gonna have to do that for 100 times?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it would just go through with one time and be fine, but no, they're gonna make me do it every damn time.
Well, I know what you're doing today.
Well, at least 95 times because I got 5 I got to send off to people. I'll probably
True.
keep some in the wings too. So,
Yeah.
At least do one here on stream so people can see
do a
it.
couple. Oh, there we go.
I got a large cemetery on the last one. That's all it showed. So
that's amazing. Like that.
A large cemetery is? What's it?
That's amazing, dude.
What's it going for? Let's see.
ETH. Like you can buy it with ETH.
I want to see large cemetery.
No, large cemetery. I would probably put it on par with like an outpost as far as value.
Well, because they're essential. That's where all the revivals.
Yeah, and who knows? As the game like progresses and things, new features.
Search that search it in the bar down below. Yeah, search cemeteries there.
So since we're doing Miranda stuff, let's talk about Miranda's. They had their newest fireside chat was last Friday, and it was close to 2 hours long. They did so much over the last few months. We've been able to keep up with the tech side of things because Jason Hughes is just so transparent about what they're up to, and again, like I say every week, he just does a really great job of like telling people all this crazy, complicated tech stuff in a way that at least communicates some of it to us. The layman can interpret what they're up to even without really knowing like the depth of how much they're accomplishing. But the one thing that we can learn about this is what they're putting into Miranda's is so cutting edge. In fact, at one point, Jason was talking about some of the. I think was related to the voice system and the compression for it. If I'm remembering right, he said that was something that he could actually market as its own product. Like it's like nobody else has ever done this before. This is an incredibly useful tool. Like, and it seems from everything that I'm seeing, the whole game is full of little nuggets like this, where they are pioneering whole new adaptations and technologies in order to make this stuff work. Another thing at the very like edge of what we can do right now with computers is what they're doing with the AI. They're creating a game where these are actual thinking creatures. Now, okay, I'm not trying to say that they have their own wills or anything like that.
Yeah.
In regards to the choices that they make based on their coding, like this is not. It's always going to spawn here. It's always going to have this attack routine. It's always going to go after this or that. They are making like complicated decisions, and one of the videos that they showed was a goblin that was originally chasing a wolf, hunting a wolf, and was hot on its tail. And as the wolf was running away from the goblin through the plains, it got close to a deer, and the goblin saw that deer as an easier target and shifted to attack the deer, and ended up hunting and killing the deer instead. So we can see that, like, if you want to extrapolate that, if you as an adventurer stumble across a goblin and you start running from it, there's a possibility that you can kind of scrape it off. If you start running towards a pack of people, you might be able to get it off your tail. You know, the classic line, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. Like, and they will react that way. They've done like they have done some updates with the art. The goblins aren't going to look like that anymore. The goblins will they're a little bit beefier. They look more like almost like they rest like gorillas. They're a little bit bulkier. And there was one goblin that they showed off that they said it's bigger than the brutes were, and it's beefy. It's going to be interesting to try to take that down.
It'll be. I'm excited for it. Miranda's is going to be it's going to be a fun one.
Tons of art updates showing us some of a lot of the weaponry. They showed it off. They did walkthroughs of some of the buildings where you're just able to see all these weapons hanging on the walls of a weapon shop, armor and things. This right here that we're looking at, this is their early modeling of what spell casting might look like. There's facial expressions was something that wasn't in the last tech test, but they're getting there and working that stuff in. Here, these are the goblins right here. So like I said, a little bit beefier, kind of angry looking.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, and then a lot of landscapes that they showed off too. They were talking about a new zone called King's March. So they've been building it out. They showed some images of the quarry that's going to be in there. But for this next tech test, which is they haven't put a date on it, but they said likely the end of Q1 of next year. So we can kind of look forward to it at about that time. It's only going to be one zone because the point of the tech test is to really put the servers to work and see how much they can handle. So they're going to contain it to one zone, and we don't know which that'll be. Maybe it's this new King's March, or maybe it's going to be King's Landing again, like it was this past tech test. But it's not so the build will be up indefinitely. So they're not going to take it down, but McCarthy was very clear that it's not going to be persistent. So about every week at the start, they're going to reload the system and you're going to start from zero again, except that you're going to be able to gather materium. So when you kill a goblin, there's a chance of a materium drop now. Okay. So materium is they're going to be working that into it so that you'll be able to start gathering materium for all of its purposes. The plans for materium are for it to be just this kind of magical substance that can accomplish a lot of different things within the game. That if you need to craft something and you don't quite have all the materials you need, that you can substitute materium for it. Materium is definitely going to be the fuel for spell casting. So whether it's healing or offensive spells or whatever, like that, you're going to need materium in order to be able to do that. So it'll be nice for people to start stacking those tokens and having them ready for the game. And let's check on the shipwreck crate. Where are we at with the?
I don't know. I can't refresh anything. It's all dead.
Oh, really?
Might be.
387 left.
Yep, there we go. So we're less than a half an hour in, and
I mean,
95% of them sold. Is that where we're at?
387.
No, 90% of them. 95. Yeah, 95% sold.
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
they'll be done soon. Like they'll sell out. I mean, honestly,
it could be sold out already. They might just be in fulfillment for all we know.
I'm super stoked for Mirandus and that they were able to garner the excitement of this to be able to bring this, forward. I think it's really great for them. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, super briefly, should we touch on the Eternal Paradox stuff just really quick, and then?
Yeah, that's the big news that's coming up next. We'll have more to talk about next week because we'll already be immersed in it. What you're seeing there are some of the lore posts that they're putting on their blog. They're tracking stories of 3 different characters so far. I'd imagine they might delve into a few more. But Bianca, Alex, and Aiden all have a little bit of a backstory that's going on. You can still get mercenary tomes in the Gala store, and if you get them before the launch, there is a 30% off discount there. But that launches tomorrow. At 5:00 p.m. Pacific time. I hope I have that right. I'm pretty sure that's right. So there's a lot of us that are going to be diving into that, and my Common Ground World days are numbered if this game takes off. I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to have to build towns anymore, because Eternal Paradox It's pretty exciting. There was one last thing that I wanted to talk about. Warren Marshall posted a little bit of an update on Town Crush. He's had to take a back seat with it because now that he's doing it independently, like it doesn't pay yet, so he's doing it in his free time. But he has right there. You can see a neat little image of him hard at work. And,
I'll make sure to include this in our Medium article for anyone that wants to.
It's a really cool little little sketch of him, and then just some of the updates that for the stuff that he's progressing on within the game. He is moving forward with it, even though he's got to do it in his spare time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
It's always good to see people in the community taking on their own initiative and doing things like that. So it's inspiring. Alrighty, well, successful cast today. Had a good amount of people in, so we thank you all for being here today. And keep your eyes peeled for this afternoon. We'll have the Gala Gazette article wrap up posted. So anything you might have missed or you want to go back to, you can find it there. Yeah, and just goes to M-Ice because he kept chatting me about markets. I love markets, so I got to talk to him. But I usually do a market one once a week or once every other week. I should start just having guests on so they can tell me what they think. Oh yeah, that'd be a blast. It'll be fun. Let's check it out. So, all right, everybody. Well, we're gonna end this one here, and M-Ice, hit me up. Come into my Discord. I don't know if you're in my Discord right now. If you are, then you know. But anyways, I'll stop.
Yeah, we'll see you again next time. Thanks a bunch, guys.
See you, everybody.
See you guys.